All right, today we're going to be working on figure 6105. It's a pipe support, and this drawing can be found in our classroom management system. All the dimensions are in inches, and they're listed here down below. The hole at F is a very special hole. It's called a countersink, CSK. So that hole will be inserted much like the counter bore. All right, we'll go through that with you, and it has to be dimensioned a very special way as well. So we'll go into Fusion. And first thing I'll do is lay down the base. So I'll do a sketch, and I'll put everything in the top view. And I like my center point rectangles. All right, and it's 4.5 inches across and 6.5 inches tall. We're all set here with this sketch, so I can stop sketch, hit the home button, and I'll give it a thickness. So I'll extrude it, and we'll go up, and it's a 0.5 inch thick base. And then I could do one of two things. I could start putting the countersink holes in, or I could put the big U-shaped pipe support. I'll put that U-shaped support in first. So sketch. And I want to click on the top of the base. Not the orange work planes, but the top of the base. Okay, zoom out so we can see this a little better. And now I want to go ahead and put that U shape in. So I'll do an arc. I'm going to use a center point arc. And I want it right on this green line. So I'm going to click. And the first radius is 1.12. And I can click this and I can go around. I'm going to tell the computer I want a 180-degree arc. Scooch my dimensions over so I can see them. And I'll do that one more time. And the second one is 1.50. Again, we'll tell the computer 180 degrees so we know it's a half circle. And the next thing I want to do is dimension that center mark, that white dot right there. I want to dimension that. It is drawn on the green line, but that doesn't mean it has to stay there. And we want to make sure it does. So I'm going to click on the dot and on the edge of the part, and it's 2.25. So I've constrained that into place. And then I also want to say, hey, from the dot to the bottom of the part is 2.50. I'll move my dimensions out here so I can see things a little better. And now we're ready to draw the rest of that pipe support. So I'll go up and over. Okay, and I'll do this side as well, up, over. Looks pretty good. Now what I can do is I need to know how high this pipe support goes up. So I'll sketch dimension. I'll go from here to here. And that is 1 inch. I'll do the same thing on the other side. From here to here, 1 inch. Now we're all set. I can stop sketch, hit the house button, and now I will extrude it. And we'll bring it up. Whoa, wrong one. Cancel that. Extrude. There we go. And that's going to go up 2.38 inches. Now, if you look at the drawing, the pipe support has that angled edge to it. So we want to put that in next. So I'll do sketch. And I'm going to select the side of the pipe support, not those orange planes or the side of the base, but the side of the pipe support there. And I need to draw a diagonal line from this corner to some spot over here on the pipe support. So what I can do is I can put in a point. Along here somewhere, I can put a point in. You see it leaves a little dot. And then I can dimension that. So you might have to go do a little bit of math, but we found out that from the bottom up to here is 3 inches. And then I can go ahead and I can draw from here to here. And then I'm going to take this, just to be safe, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go over here. Okay. Sometimes you could get away with just using that profile. I'm making a big cookie cutter piece here just to be safe. And I'll say stop sketch. Now we want to get rid of that piece. Okay, and sometimes it works. Sometimes you won't have to draw these lines, but we found it just a little bit easier to draw the larger shape. So I'll do an extrusion. I'll click on that, and I'll go across. And again, instead of distance, I'll change it to all. And say okay. And if you look at it, you see now we have that nice angled edge. Okay. Now we're ready to put in the 3 countersink holes. So let's go ahead and put those in. So I'm going to do create hole. And I'll put the one in that's up top here. I'm going to drag this down roughly to where I want it. And the first thing I'm going to do is put some references in. So from the top of the part down, do a little bit of math, and it says it's 1. And then from the side, it's 2.25. Do not hit enter though, because it'll finish it up without you putting the dimensions in. As you come down, the hole type, there's simple, counterbore, and countersink. Make sure you have countersink selected. For depth, make sure you do all. And actually down here under extents, you should do all, right? Extents all. Diameter should be 0.38 inches. Countersink diameter should be 0.75 inches. Take a look at the pop-up menu, make sure your numbers match, and say okay. Now if we zoom in, you'll see that there's a small hole, and then when it gets up to a certain point, then it tapers out to a larger hole. A little bit different than that counter bore that we did. This allows us to put a screw, a machine screw into here so that this pipe support could be clamped to something. Okay? Let's do that a couple more times. We need to put 2 more in. So create hole, click on the bottom, again, drag it over roughly where you like. Oh, let's grab the middle there. Put it over here where I like it. And let's see, we have it on all. Diameter is 0.38. Countersink diameter is 0.75. There we go, looks a little better. Now remember, you gotta go do those references. So up here, mine says references. And from the side, it's 1. And from the bottom, it's 1. And I can enter. Uh-oh. Not where I wanted it. Okay, so if it goes where you don't want it or the pop-up menu closes, just go to the last hole, edit feature. And this needs to be 1, right? There we go. And then make sure that those references are in the right place. 1 and 1. Okay, good. There we go. If I look at that top view now, so we've got a countersink and countersink. All right. That looks a little bit close. I'm going to double check my dimensions real quick. I'm going to go to that last hole. It says it's okay. Looks a little bit 1 and 1. Not supposed to be 1 and 1. It's supposed to be 0.75. Let's change that. 0.75. And this one. Let's set these up. All right, so I'm going to grab that. There we go. And let's change both these 0.75 and 0.75. There we go. That looks better. All right, one more time. Create hole. Click. References. 0.75. And from this side, also 0.75. All my dimensions for the countersink should have auto-saved in here, but double check. 0.38 for the diameter, 0.75 for the countersink, extents is all. I can say okay. That looks pretty good. Look at my top view there. Looks nice. And now I'm ready to put this into a drawing and talk about some dimensions. Some of your working environment will say design. Mine says model up here. Drawing from design. Drawing from design. Okay, all set. Let's save this. So figure 6-105. I'm going to put the date on mine. 1 November 21. And I'm going to use all the defaults. I'll say okay. This is a very large part. All right. Now, when mine goes in here, it doesn't quite look the way I want it to. So I know some of us struggle with this a little bit. So I'm going to put this one in and I'll hit enter. All right. And this is actually the bottom view. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I know some of you guys struggle with this. So I'm going to do projected view. There we go. There's that nice front view that I want. And I'll go and delete this one. Scooch this down to where I want it over here somewhere. And now I can do the other view. So back up here, projected view, click 1 and 1. And then, of course, the isometric. Double click. Let's make that isometric shaded. Our part has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 13 dimensions. Okay, 13 dimensions. Make sure you put all of them in, please. Okay. I'm going to just talk about 2 dimensions right now. All right. I'm going to go down here to this countersink hole. We've talked all year that we need to put in our geometry. So I'm going to put in a center mark here and here. Okay. Can put one in for my arc there as well, right? But I want to look at dimensioning this countersink. I'll go from the bottom edge to the center of the circle. Okay. All right. So this side is 0.75 from this corner up and out, and it's the same on this side. They're both the same. So you could put in both 0.75s. You could put them in. You could put it in 4 times, right? 2 for this side and 2 for this side. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to double click on this. And right after the 0.75, I'm going to do space, TYP, all capital letters, which stands for typical. Now, I don't want it that dimension going into my part, so I'll drag this out a little bit if I can here. Could put it over here. Could scooch it over. There we go. All right. I'm going to do the same thing here. Typical just tells us that they're both the same. Both sides are the same. So again, you could put 0.75 and 0.75 on the other side, or you could do TYP, and that'll save you a couple dimensions. Now, I would still have to dimension this top one because this is not the same as the bottom 2, right? It is. There's only one. It's dimensioned all the way into the middle. So you would have to do a whole set of dimensions for this one. Okay. You have to do dimensions for the radius, the height of the base. You're going to put all those in. I'm just focusing on a couple dimensions. Again, you need 13 of them total. And the dimension I want to focus on is this countersink. So again, I'll put a center mark in. All 3 of these are the same size. So I'm going to pick this top one. And it tells me that this is just 0.75. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to delete that out. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to go to the center, the smaller circle, 0.38. And now I'm going to double click. I'm going to go right next to the 8. And I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard and hit Enter. I'm going to insert a diameter symbol. Make sure my cursor is there. It looks like it's flashing. 0.75 space. capital X, space, and then I need the symbol for countersink. And it's right here. If you're looking on my screen, there's a pop-up with this stretched out letter V. And then I do a space. And then I say 82. And then I need to do the symbol for degrees. And that's also in the pop-up. So it's 3/8 diameter. And then it goes to a 0.75 diameter countersink at 82 degrees. At the end of that line, I'm going to hold down the shift key and hit enter. And I'm going to say 3 holes. Capital letters preferred. I'll say close. Your countersink must look exactly like this to get full credit. Again, there are 13 dimensions on this drawing. I only put in 3 of them. You need to get the rest of them in. Make sure that all of your circles and arcs have center lines and center marks. Make sure your title block is completed with a logo. And then you want to think about a note as well. We'd like to try to put a note here down in the bottom. That is up to you to complete. If you're in our classroom, there are examples on the back wall with some more information. Good luck.